Hey everyone, this is Saeed with Messy Growth. Got a great guest today for y'all. Aleksandra Korczynksa, she is currently CMO at SurveyKit, one of Poland's most experienced B2B SaaS marketing leaders. She spent nearly 5 years as CMO at GetResponse, one of Poland's largest SaaS companies, where she led a 40% remote marketing team and managed $10 million budget while scaling their email and marketing automation system. Most recently, she was the head of marketing at Live Sales Space, where she built the entire marketing function from the ground up, going from solo execution to leading a 6-person team, implementing the full marketing stack, segment, customer IO, lifecycle automation, and driving year-over-year SQL growth in a hybrid PLG/sales-led model, something I want to dig deeper into. She's also launched their first international go-to-market strategy, securing over 100 partner source leads every single month. But before entering SaaS, Aleksandra launched and scaled Uber Eats across Poland and Central Europe, giving her a unique perspective, I would say, on both marketplace and SaaS business models. She's joining us today to share what she's learned about building scalable marketing engines in Polish B2B SaaS companies. Ola, thanks so much for sitting down with me.
Great. Thanks a lot for making this really great intro of me. I'm super happy to have the pleasure to talk to you today.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who don't know, you're currently in Cape Town, and I'm so sorry to keeping you away from the great weather and your family, but I really appreciate you taking the time and having a chat with me. I was really excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. No, actually, it's really fine. I usually we are coming to Cape Town to work remotely from here, and then also take some weeks off. So, for me personally, once the weather is good, once you can take some, make some hiking before work, your performance just rapidly increases. So,
Yeah.
Definitely, it's not like taking me off like the good weather.
Yeah. Is this your first remote role?
No, not really. Actually, obviously, once I was working at GetResponse, we all moved to this async remote world in 2020. So I was working at GetResponse fully remotely since 2020, and then at Livespace I was also working fully remotely. And yeah, Survicate is a fully remote company as well. But I think the difference is, and that's quite interesting, that Survicate was an ASIC company before COVID. And I think this is crucial, for they, work as asynchronously, because if they haven't been really working remotely and async before COVID, then they're all coming back to hybrid and then full office mode.
Yeah. Do you prefer in person, or you're more of a remote person type?
I'm actually much more async and remote person, I think. I appreciate, and I know that the offline meetings are super important. I'm usually meeting some of my team members every month, every second month, either just making us all flying in, or getting to Warsaw or any other city. But in terms of the performance, I really prefer async working, because it's not that you are hyper performing from 8 to 6, right? It's kind of should be doing things when your brain is ready for it, right? So that's I think remote work, while done well, it can outperform the office work.
100%. When you're managing a large team, though, and you said something about async work, do you kind of feel like that you have to instill this habit in your team that, hey, I will answer when I answer, we're an async company, nothing urgent or critical is happening? Because I kind of feel like that with invention of Slack and instant messaging platforms, folks expect a response right away because for them it seems extremely critical. Do you face that with leading a team, or not really?
Not now, not really, but it depends on the company that you're working at. As I mentioned, Survicate is full async, and it's been before COVID, and definitely it's, I think it's part of the culture when everyone is supposed to work on documents instead of calls, and it's kind of natural for us that we don't expect immediate answers, right? So I don't feel that. However, for example, at GetResponse, definitely that was the issue, right? Because that we kind of adopted async work, but GetResponse definitely is much more office, offline meetings company. So I think it depends on the culture and the company culture in the end.
Fair enough. So you were at GetResponse for almost 5 years as CMO. Then you left for a smaller company. I kind of feel like that a lot of the folks at C-level VPs, they don't step down from running larger teams. They usually tend to feel like that, hey, ladder only goes one way, it doesn't go backwards. What was your why behind that reason of like managing a large team and then pivoting over to something smaller, more, I would say cozier?
Yeah. So, like GetResponse was great in terms of like learning how to scale processes and orgs. But actually what I missed is this like very hands-on and fast building. And, scale ups just move faster, right? Like you've got few layers, like less stakeholder management. That was something that I think, a little bit tired of. And then you get much more shipping, right? Like you can see like the value to market. You can ship the value to market much, much faster. And specifically, like with the whole like AI GTM revolution, I kind of knew that I must stay close to the tools, like to be much more like hands-on. Because if you are like at a C-level like position, and if you miss that kind of revolution,
Yeah.
then it's really hard to bring further innovation because you just are not close enough to the tools. You are not close enough to the tech stack. You are like you need to get your hands dirty with clay to understand like what are the possibilities, etc. Right? So that was the reasoning. And then back then I basically had like, the choice like to go even bigger. Like I had some offers from like Dog Planner or like Revolut, where I would
Oh,
have more like, stakeholder management, more alignment gravity, or actually like go smaller, get my hands dirty and come back to what I really like doing during the day. So in the end, that was actually the decision of how do I want my like daily life to look like, right? And so for me, that wasn't like stepping down. It was like for one end, like making my job more joyful, I would say, and then like I stepped closer to product, to market, to execution, to tools. So that was quite an easy decision for me. And I think, it's always like easier. And I know that I always like will have the option like to go like, to go up, right? To come back like to the
sure.
big orgs, etc. But it's hard like after a time, I think, to move like, go step down and be
Yeah.
a person again.
Yeah.
So that was the decision behind it.
Yeah. You, if anybody knows marketing, it's you. You have done so much in marketing. You've been a VP, you've been a chief marketing officer. What makes a good chief marketing officer? What is it? Is there a trade? Is it a certain habit? Is it a certain type of character? Is it a certain type of experience? Like what makes a CMO tick?
I think like, like that is the same question like of what makes a good like a CEO, right? Like it depends on the industry, it depends on the org size, it depends on the like markets, like how like the market that you are operating in. So like, but I think there are some like the two basic things that I'm thinking of. The first one is that like you should be leading by example. So that if you require like somebody, like I'm always like this person that I want to understand better. Like, I want to make sure that I understand the area. And obviously I'm hiring people who are better than me in that particular area. But at least like, like I want to make sure that I've get some understanding of it so that I can be a partner for my, like expert in like PPC or like in SEO, etc. And then like, leading by example also in terms of the processes, in terms of what you expect from the team for like team members. I think that's important thing. And the second one is like, being this like T-shaped marketer, right? Like you need to understand various areas. And the natural like career path for most of like people in the marketing is just to learn one more area, and then to eventually like become like the head of marketing, CMO, etc. So I think being this T-shaped marketer is important. But then there are like two important path like things in being the T-shaped marketer that makes a good CMO is that I think being like analytical and technical like helps a lot. And then like having a really good eye to design and being also a partner to the designers. Like me personally, I'm quite like hands-on with graphic design. Get some past experiences here, but that's being both technical and like and design driven and having some like understanding of design systems of like what good design looks like makes you both a partner to the IT team, to the product team, and then to the design team that are the biggest, like the most important stakeholders for CMO.
Who do you collaborate mostly with? Is it all of the company or is it like a specific department that you feel like just needs to be in sync with marketing for a company to operate well? Most
Yeah.
people think it's sales, but is there another department you feel like sales is the one that you need to have the most closest relationship with?
I think sales is like kind of a sales and marketing are kind of like like the brother and sister, right? Like kind of
Sure.
I wouldn't say that this is the team that you're cooperating with. In like my approach is that sales and marketing should be treated as kind of one like revenue team, and that's how I always like approached it. And I was like always like thinking about like what is the end like MRR that we are newbies MRR that we are aiming at. But the team that I think is most crucial as a partner for marketing is product actually, because like I think that the key thing and the like key area that makes marketing successful is the product. So you can have like really nice speech, you can have really nice designs, you can have really good content, but like good product can make your life much easier or much harder. So I think like product is like the key most important stakeholder to every like CMO, to every marketing team.
Yeah, perfect. I want to dig deeper into GetResponse. You've done both pure PLG, so product-led growth, and hybrid models at LifeSpace, where I believe the split was 25 to 75% sales-led. How do you decide which motion to lead with? What determines what split should be there?
Yeah, so I'd say that like it's not like a decision that like companies should like make make at the very beginning. It's not ideology. It's like it depends on the stage that the company is currently in, the average like contract value, so the average the ASP, and the product maturity, right? Because like you should be launching like the sales-led motion if your product is mid-market or enterprise ready. If actually you are launching, if you are starting with sales led too early, it's like just costly. And usually like companies are doing it just to mask product debt. So
Mm.
like, you need to have this like sales or onboarding patch gaps because you are just not ready to put the users in and make them play with the product, right? So I would say it's like for most of the products, specifically in the SaaS industry, like they usually start with PLG and then they add the sales led as the buying complexity grows, as they are as the average contract value grows.
Sure.
And then once also like the product is getting more enterprise ready, right? Because then it makes sense to add like the very expensive sales led layer there. In our way, actually, like if you start with sales led, and that's actually something that is very tempting at the very beginning because you want to serve every single customer and you want to actually make money very quickly, then it turns out that it's just one-way path, right? Because it's really hard to give up on the sales-led model, and it turns out that it's just too costly. And then it's gonna turns out that you're gonna get like lower conversion rates in the funnel if you're gonna make like switch to PLG. But actually, you should, because there is a certain level of average sell price where you shouldn't go like with the sales team, right? So because like the sales team will be always like much much more expensive way than the PLG.
For sure,
So
yeah.
yeah, so I'd say that's like a decision depending on the average contract value, the product maturity. And then like currently that's also like there's something that we're seeing in the market because PLG it's so much harder to scale than it was I think like many years ago. And right now that's also like it's ABM is becoming like so like and the outbound with Clay etc. became such a powerful but also so popular or even like uh, maybe like much more like much like too popular versus like the actual effectiveness of this channel. That's quite tempting for companies to scale the sales led channels first. And I think that's kind of a problem that companies are facing because they think that outbound is gonna be so easy to scale. We just have this target list, and we get just do the like sales at motion, right? And then it turns out that it's the net like economics like they just don't
It
play
doesn't
out.
work out. Yeah. Are you bullish on a channel or any channel right now that not a lot of people are focusing or paying attention to, or you feel like has the potential to blow up in the future?
You mean on the channel, like specific?
Let's just say, for instance, I have a lot of companies that I speak to, they're going deep and hard on Reddit, for instance.
Yeah.
They're trying to carve out. They kind of feel like that is a place where people still have some semblance of no AI usage. People tend to give their own opinions. And if you can build some sort of or carve out a niche where you have a person of authority, that could be a pretty good lead driver for the most part.
I think Reddit like was so popular, like, and is still so popular channel because like it potentially like impacts the LLM's results, and it's like
Yes, that's exactly it.
that's like why it's so popular, and everyone is trying basically like to like crack it. And like the Reddit, like the power users of Reddit are getting really angry with it, and that basically Reddit's kind of becoming this mine of automated responses just to boost the LLM's ratings and just to appear in this long tail keywords in ChatGPT, etc. I wouldn't say that there's like one particular channel that can work out. It depends really much on the company. Like, for example, for Survicate, like we've got pretty good like geo coverage and pretty good like because we've been building like SEO and organic over the years, right? And it's something that just takes time to build. And I think like currently when it comes to the channels, people are like companies are really looking for like quick playbooks, right? And the problem is that they don't really exist, and that they think of that, they're gonna launch ABM campaign together with like personalized outbound, and then they're gonna generate some leads. And the truth is that ABM is not a lead generation channel, right? ABS is more kind of an awareness channel, and it shouldn't be measured in that in that way that we used to measure like LinkedIn with some lead magnets, etc. So I think there is a hype on, and this was like over the years, right? There were some specific hypes like with ABM, with outbound, or like with Reddit, and like this seek for very quick returns. That truth is, and reality is that the return, like quick return on investment, like it doesn't exist. You need to kind of be doing like few things at the same moment, and you need to like, in the end, like you really shouldn't be looking at the attribution, but you should be kind of understanding, like specifically once you're building a startup, a scale up, like why these customers come to you, what makes them buy, and even like choose some more qualitative methods over like, trying to find the right like attribution to a channel to see what works. So I think the TLDR is that the quick return on of investments, they don't actually work out right now. Like they don't exist. Like this growth tactics that were so popular, I think 10 years ago, because the growth tactics, like the growth hackers term was so popular like 10 years ago, because I think like back then there were some growth hacking, hacking ways, but right now it's more about consistency, really good content, really good distribution, understanding how to measure channels like in the right way, like not to measure ABM with leads, or not to measure like investment in Reddit with signups in the end, like in a very short term. It's all actually in the end like a mix of channels, and I think it's good to seek for like very, very efficient channels. So the channels that don't require like ongoing investments, because you as a marketer you're looking for the economics of scale, right? Like you're looking for some repeatable frameworks, just then you can just launch it and then it works, right? So I think like there are much better channels, such as like partnerships, if your product is good, like or getting like posted on some marketplace platforms. Even like like having this like thought leadership is important, but then you need to like make sure that your content is very, very high quality, right? That it's unique, because it's so easy right now like to just create content that is of a mediocre quality, right? That does not really resonate with humans.
Staying on that topic for a little bit, as you know, through LLMs, pretty much anybody can become a content writer. We have seen thought leadership, specifically on LinkedIn, go over the roof because of the fact that the LLMs are accessible. Anybody can just put a prompt in and create, I would say, a very decent quality piece of content. You mentioned something here which was interesting: consistency and really good content that resonates. How do you separate and differentiate yourself in a market and space where content creation is now dominated, literally can be done by anybody, and we have literally seen people overnight become thought leaders? Because interestingly enough, for thought leaderships, 5, 10, 12 years ago, you needed thoughts. Now you just need a prompt good enough for it to be able to generate a piece of content.
I actually don't agree with the statement that anyone can basically like become a thought leader and like get viral posts and like produce a good content. Because like you've seen many people like producing some content at much bigger scale, much faster, but it's not actually really good content. And to share even like example, like to really actually create a content that resonates, you really need to understand, first of all, actually understand like the persona that you are talking to. And then like, it's like, have something very unique to say. Because most of the like 90% of all these thought leaders or like wannabe thought leaders on LinkedIn, they're just, like over repeating the same like statements that are not unique, not interesting at all. So, and then if you're gonna see like there are some like, thought leaders that have something interesting to say, that is something very unique, sometimes controversial, and it's something that is coming from their own experience. And then, like LLMs is helping them to, shape that content, right? And to bring all of these thoughts together. But it's their expert knowledge and their understanding of the audience that they are talking to that makes that post viral. So I wouldn't really agree with that. Like I see even right now, right? Like if I'm, hiring or like, talking to various content writers, like, yeah, they are able like to write like okay-ish content, but it's like nothing that eventually that would be super interesting for a human. Specifically, if you are targeting with your business an advanced, like advanced personas, then you really need to pay attention to what you are writing there, like whether it's something unique, whether it's something very specific, whether it's something like AdWords expert knowledge or not. And actually, to share an example with you, like for example, like my husband Daniel, he's basically like leading the product at SurveyKit. He like just started posting like for the very first time a few months ago some first LinkedIn posts, and the very first post that he basically shared that was based on his experience.
Sure.
It went like viral, like getting like I think about like 50k like LinkedIn engagement. So
Jesus.
it kind of shows that it's about like it's not about like building like the content, doing this like in a scale, but in the end, if you get a really unique piece of content, it's gonna get viral. So so I think it's in the end about also like being an expert.
Talking about virality, I want to kind of match that to marketing. What is the hardest part about marketing at scale and at the scale that where you've operated that nobody talks about or people don't talk about enough in your space?
I think like the coordination tax. So the coordination tax understood as, like the hands off, the meetings, alignment, and also like this coordination tax that is related to some inconsistency in terms of the taste, in terms of the messaging, because you need to like keep, like all the teams like aligned. And then it's at the scale, it's sometimes harder. It's much harder, like to keep the same like high standards, high quality of and consistent messaging across like all the channels, all of the teams. So that's I would say like everything that is related with coordination tax in the end, because you spend much more time on alignment, on like stakeholder management, than on actually shipping things. And it's, I think the ideal team size, specifically right now with all these AI tools we have, regardless of the ARR that you are making, I think that like every single like SaaS company can like, regardless if it's a scale up or like, like 500K ARR company, it can still like boost growth if the team size is like up to 10 people. Because
10
it's
people.
like you just need the owners and the very senior owners of specific channels, specific motions, and then you have actually much lower coordination tax once the group is so small. But if actually you are like building a headcount and building like a big team org, as I did for example at GetResponse, then in the end, you as the CMO, you are mostly like actually doing the team management and like the alignment and stakeholder management. And then you also like must have very strong middle leadership that is also like spending tons of time on this coordination tax.
Yeah.
So that's I think what also breaks a bit. And yep, and eventually I think that's something that that I would really avoid doing, even if like the company scales like up further. I wouldn't scale up so fast like the headcount as I did like 5 years ago.
Fair enough. Talking about headcount, at LifeSpace, you started hands-on doing demand generation and product marketing yourself before building the team. At GetResponse, you managed, like we talked about, 40 plus people. That's a massive shift in how you spend your time. Was there a particular thing that was very hard to let go of? And was there something that you wish you delegated sooner?
GetResponse or Lightspace or like both?
Sure. Let's talk about GetResponse first.
Yeah. So I think like, like at GetResponse, like that was also like the times once I was like hiring like tons of people. And I would say that with at GetResponse, like I failed with my first two hirings. Like by failing, I mean, I failed, like I hired like two people. And basically after 3-4 months, I need to fire them.
Why
So
is
I
that?
kind of to learn like how to hire well. And it takes time
Oh,
basically
yes.
to
Fair
learn
enough.
that. Because previous at Uber I was hiring people. I had like all of these layers of like the HR people, like the
That would
process,
check. Yes.
the check, basically the culture check.
De-risking, yeah.
And the key thing that you always want to check, like, is that whether this person has a strong sense of ownership or not. And this is super hard to like check on your own. Like that's something that I've learned how to check right now, but that was something that was really hard for me to check a few years ago. So definitely like, like hiring at the very beginning and finding the right people, building actually my frameworks on how to hire well and how to avoid such failures with hiring, because you don't want to spend like, 3 months hiring and hire up, then waiting for a person and then fire them after 3-4 months.
Yeah,
that's something that I've learned a lot about. And I think I'm much more successful right now, but with hiring, but that's something that was quite a painful lesson back then. I think like in terms of the hiring, there's like checking how to check like the sense of ownership. And the second thing that might not be so obvious is how to check the eye to design. Because I think that every single marketer must have really good eye to design, because eventually we are speaking to our audience visually. And if you miss that, you're not going to be a good marketer. That's my thinking. And checking that over the recruitment process is also something that I needed to learn in time.
You mentioned something interesting about sense of ownership. I have a hard time gauging that when I'm talking to somebody and hiring them. I'm assuming that was probably the case for you. Is there a particular thing you look for now when you're interviewing someone, considering you only have 30, 45 minutes? What are you looking for? If somebody's right now interviewing and they're talking to you about a position at SurveyKit, what are you after?
Yeah. So there are actually like few things that I'm usually looking for. So, like I want to like hire like smart people, and that's also hard to check. But once you actually how to check like, this smart and curious people, like it's that usually they surprise you during the recruitment process. They surprise you with some knowledge or some like insights, some intel. You kind of feel that they are interested in the field, that they're interested in like the SaaS environment, specifically. Right now I'm only or mostly hiring only like senior talent, because this, coordination tax is so like high if you hire like junior talents, right? So I'm right now mostly like hiring senior people. But even if you've got senior people, you need to check if they're like curious, if they're smart. And this is actually, you check it by seeing whether they surprise you during the recruitment interview process or not. And by surprising, I mean, they ask really good questions. They come like over prepared. They actually like share with you some insights or intel, like showing that they are really following all of the trends. And you can have just a really good conversations with them just about like the SaaS world or like your industry or anything like this. The second thing I would say in terms of ownership, like ownerships also can be checked whether they come over prepared, whether they ask the right questions, whether, if they get any kind of a task, they should basically like ask some questions before, right? And not just, like take the task for granted. This is how I usually like, not maybe check it, but this is how I see like good owners like differentiate from kind of mediocre ones. And then the last one I would say, like, the way they are presenting the task is also something you can check the eye for design or taste. And then by, having this conversation with them, checking if they are critical, if they're, open for feedback. And then eventually if they are also, I think, humble in the end. So they know this is kind of like a recruitment process and that they don't need to like know everything. And the key goal is just to like make sure that we have a good alignment and that we'll be like working well together. and to see that whether they would really be, like they would really care about like their field, the company, etc. I think these are like kind of the soft things, but the TLDR here, I would say I want them to surprise me during the recruitment process.
Yeah, got it. That's fair enough. It wouldn't be a conversation if I didn't ask you about Uber Eats, so I'm going to ask you now. You launched Uber Eats, Poland from zero, and then scaled it across Central Eastern Europe. That is not an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination. Launching a two-sided marketplace in a new country is brutal. Was there something that was really extremely hard about it? I mean, it can be more than just one thing, but I really want to know what that was that as big an endeavor as I think it is, or you kind of feel like that, just another day in the business?
So I think one of the hardest one was that we've been launching Uber Eats like as the first delivery marketplace, like in the CE, even in Europe. So what was hard was that we were basically entering like the blue ocean, meaning that nobody actually could even imagine like what this kind of service means. So educating the users, the customers that, we can guarantee like 20 minutes delivery because you're going to see the courier coming to you was quite new, right? Because like we've got takeaway on the market, we've got pizza portal on the market, but these were rather, like the marketplaces with the restaurants delivery. So that was a pain in the ass because you really couldn't see where the courier actually is when the pizza is going to
frustrating.
So that was actually a completely new service. And even like, like educating the markets, like how it works is obviously like the hardest part. But then operationally, with this, I would say, Uber Eats is a free-sided marketplace. So you need to synchronize the demand curves coming from users. You need to synchronize the supply you have from couriers. And then you need to make sure also that, that you synchronize like the supply that you get from the restaurants. Because if the demand is really high and even you've got like enough couriers, then like a single restaurant in the peak hours might be not able like to serve all of the food so quickly.
Fair enough.
So, at the very beginning, there were even some days once like me with the whole team were just jumping into the restaurants, helping them like, for example, jumping to some Blickle during the Fat Thursdays, helping them to distribute the donuts. They're being very hands-on with that just to make sure that we'll be able to serve all of these customers. So I'd say like, educating the markets and while entering the blue ocean and then like synchronizing the supply demand curves was really important. But that was also like really great because, like we've been launching Polish, I think Polish market was the second in Europe that we launched, I think third one. And that was really great because we're a very small like European team, and we're basically like, launching some life cycle experiments, like launching some pricing experiments, and then just sharing these experiments between like Europe and South Africa as well. And that was really actually a great like learning curve, like to see like what works, what doesn't, and then like implementing the learnings to other markets.
One hell of an experience.
Learning local playbooks was and scaling that different markets was really, really great.
Yeah.
But that was actually like kind of like, work hard, play hard time. Because, all of this like that Uber Eats was kind of like, this US like startup, maybe not a startup, but very quick, fast growth like company. And it's like we were scaling and growing like crazy fast, crazy quickly. That required like tons of pivoting, tons of like hard work, and then also like doing some tweaks on the go and coming up with some very creative ideas sometimes as well.
Yeah, that's exciting though. I mean, I can just see that, the sense it pretty much the way you're saying. On that topic about expansion, you did it for Uber Eats, and you also did it for Lifespace, the first international go-to-market strategy. I guess I want to ask you from the lens and perspective of a Polish B2B SaaS product going international. What's the biggest mistake you see companies make? Is it better to go wide, multiple markets at once, or go deep, one market at a time?
That's actually like that depends actually obviously on your product and the business model in the end, right? Because there are some business models such as marketplaces where you need to go market by market because this is just how marketplace works, right? You need to have demand and then you need to go city by city. But with like all like the software products, I would say like always go English first, like EN first, like English first. Always go global first. Do not care about like a specific market. Because like specifically if you want to go like PLG, right? Like that's something that I was saying in the very beginning. If you're launching a software product or scaling it, it's much easier and better to like go PLG at the very beginning and then like English first, and then potentially like even going English first, I would go rather by a specific target list of companies and rather than a specific markets that you are going after. Unless your company, unless your business model requires strong localization or it serves kind of like, the audience that requires that localization, then you need to go market by market. So going like, like once you go English first, then like going local is a really good GTM strategy. That's something, for example, I've been doing like at the GetResponse, and the growth basically was coming that, we've had like the English, like, we were like English first, and then we're going like market by market, like, after Italian market, after German market, after French market, because these markets, they basically require localization, local support, local sales, local marketing, local SEO, because they are basically, if you enter some of these markets, you need to have also localized SEO strategy and localized content. So I would treat the local strategy and going after local markets as a next step for your GTM rather than just a starting point. And then, when it comes to like starting from Poland and like, starting from US, I think right now it's really hard like to start from US, and because the like the density of companies in US is really, really high. But on the other hand, like US is a huge like domestic market. So you've got like global scale thinking from day one. And the Poland trap is that Polish market kind of feels being big enough early, but then it's kind of delaying your global ambition. So it's, if you go after Poland first, you can kind of grow your business to a decent scale. And I think this also like this was and is still like kind of Lightspace case, right? That it's like Lightspace is really big actually in Poland, and their financial results are really good in Poland. But then like it's obviously it's like entering other markets, local markets, like it's like starting a startup from the very beginning, right? It's starting things from scratch. So I think it's much harder to start from just one local market and then to go after another one, because you can actually just stay with that local trap.
I think the other factor is that when you're going international, you're essentially now competing with a larger fish that is out there, right? Like if you're in Poland, we love our country, sure, but there's a limited amount of competition here. But if you go stateside, then you're entering like this is the big boy pants you have to, so to speak, put on, because you're now competing with a much larger talent pool, much larger company portfolio as well.
Yeah, but then, on the other hand, like from one side, all of the like bigger players that are already like entering the Polish or CE markets, because they are also looking for like a local for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna see that, like all of the like bigger companies from like Pipedrive, HubSpot, like Braze, they all actually put in their like 2025, 2026 priorities, go after CE, because they know that, like Polish market is a really attractive market for international companies right now. Like, like companies can afford right now like top-notch software. They can pay more. They have also bigger expectations. So yeah, I think the market has changed a lot. Like, and so it's not gonna be about like the competitive landscape anymore. And then the second part of it is that when it comes to the talent density, like in Poland, we don't have actually so many like experienced people in the SaaS market. So if you really want to find, for example, a partnership marketing person like to join your SaaS that already had some experience, we are talking about like 5 people in Poland, I believe. And I know because I've been just hiring basically like this for this role. So you need to go like international, because you just won't be able to find the right people. You won't be able to find A players to join your team.
Yeah, fair enough. Talking about expansion and everything, you've implemented full funnel reporting at multiple different companies. Metabase and Livespace, attribution models at GetResponse. Most marketing teams struggle with this quite a lot. I've actually worked with quite a lot of marketing teams. This is one problem that comes up often. What's the minimum viable attribution setup that actually works? What do most people overcomplicate in these stages?
Yeah, I think myself, I was also overcomplicating like attribution like few years ago. And I think what I've learned over the years is that in the end, attribution is not so important. And like, I think like we as the CMOs, like we as the marketers are spending like so much time on finding the right attribution, on like, making sure that the attribution works. And in the end, it will never actually be perfect, right? Like you need to have like a blend of, like the first party, zero party attribution with some like, cut cookie attribution to have like the full picture. But in the end, like the question is your business growing or not? And the issue is that like if the business is growing, if you are like scaling a new base, then basically like nobody's asking you like, hey, like is this channel working or not? But actually the problem is that if the business actually is not growing, if you've got some problems with getting more scale, etc., then everyone is looking at specific like channels. So I think like in the end you should be focused on like having some general understanding, but more like high level attribution. I would say maximum like 3 to 5 like channels when it comes to attribution, such as like it's easy to see like to divide it into like traffic coming from like organic, like some paid general, like blended all together, and then like some geo, some like partners actions, etc., partner influenced growth as well. But you shouldn't really be treating it like 100% accurate, because in the end, like there are multiple channels that every single sign up or every single MQL go through. So my advice would be to make sure that you blend different sources, including like the self-declaration from the customers, from the signups, or if you don't have self-declaration, if you are purely sales led, then including like the sales rep just putting like this tags, putting up this information in your CRM. But in the end, you should like blend the data and just like have general understanding how does it look like, rather than spending months or weeks on making it correct. Because in the end, every single CMO, every single like marketer should pay attention to what is the MRR growth, what is the revenue growth, and then potentially what is the split of the newbies MRR, what is the split of the pipeline created versus like the existing MRR. So that's my thinking.
This is great.
Not too overcomplicated, definitely.
No, I mean it's I get it, but this is a lot. This is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I know, because there's like this, we always want to learn like, and the fun part is that we always want to learn like what worked, just to be able to repeat it. And the truth is, in most kind of cases, that you won't have this. There are no like endless circles. Like you kind of something works this year, and then you're gonna repeat it once again. It's gonna work out again. But then like after 1 year, it's not gonna work out again, right? So in marketing, you still need to like combine a few things, and you need to keep like few channels going at in the same time, meaning both, in most cases, both online and offline. So I think like it's a really big trap to just stay with one of two channels, because it might maybe turn out that they are not effective anymore, right? Or the costs are too high, or that's something has changed in the market. Let's take the organic, for example, right? Like with LLMs, that something is changing the market and basically breaks like your full like marketing strategy. So in the end, you need to have like open mind and be very agile with that, but have some basic understanding of what channels are working, what are not, and how they attribute to the revenue in the end.
Fair enough. I want to ask a couple more questions before we dig into our rapid fire round. And ask this to Camille, but from a founder lens, I want to ask you this from a marketing lens. SurveyKit is a feedback survey tool, competitive space with Typeform, SurveyMonkey, Qualtrics. How are you positioning SurveyKit differently?
So Survicate, actually, like as you mentioned, is a customer feedback platform, which basically means that we are like not just actually a survey tool. That's one thing. Like we are like kind of a combination of the voice of the customer tool and like the survey tool. So basically you can collect all of this feedback, but then you can also like analyze the feedback from the surveys and blend it with all of the other sources of feedback that you've got, eventually to be able to answer to all of the hypotheses and research questions that you might have. So that's I think like one key thing that kind of like compares us and differentiates us from tools like Typeform, SurveyMonkey, that are just general like survey tools. And then the other fact is that like Typeform, SurveyMonkey are like kind of fit them all survey tools, and we basically are like we are the best fit for digital products, meaning for mobile apps, if you have the mobile SDK for web apps, if specifically if you've got like desktop app and you've got like the web app as well, you get a mobile app, and you have also potentially some website and you want to run some multi-channel surveys across the whole customer journey. And you also like have pretty much advanced tech stack, right? So if you want to, if you take like the feedback processes kind of seriously and you want to make it a part of your like whole tech stack, then I think we are a really good fit for you. If you just want to take some, create some surveys for ad hoc projects, then we definitely are like too expensive solution for just some, ad hoc projects to run 1 or 2 surveys. Yeah. So I think that's the key difference. But then on the other hand, we are not so expensive at Qualtrics. So, Qualtrics is like a huge research machine.
Yes.
So that's kind of like another level, I would say. And we've got actually currently many customers moving from Qualtrics to us because we basically serve very similar use cases.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a need to have run this very extensive research with Qualtrics, and potentially if you are not using 90% of the features, but you really need pretty good technology with solid SDK, with solid implementation to your web mobile app, then we are really good survey and customer feedback solution.
This is perfect. Whatever you're doing, it's clearly working. I mean, I know you guys hit more than $4 million in recurring revenue. So naturally, whatever you're doing is you guys are on the right path. I want to ask you one more question before we dig into a rapid fire round. Your background, pretty interesting. It's quantitative methods. You're certified in SPSS. You mentioned marketing science a lot. Most CMOs aren't this analytical. How does your quant background change how do you do marketing?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, I think for years, specifically in the early 2012, I kind of avoided calling myself a marketer because marketing back then, 12 years ago, it wasn't seen as, very analytical or technical, but more creative and brand. It wasn't it wasn't so technical. So I kind of was really that's super weird, I think to imagine right now, but I was really actually kind of avoided calling myself a marketer because I was I graduated from quantitative methods, from economics. I was also obsessed with startups and technology and back then with TechCrunch and Kickstarter. I've also did one of the Kickstarter campaigns myself at one of the startups I was working at. But I also had this kind of design skills. I kind of understood marketing, but from the technology perspective, right? From the digital marketing perspective. And I think I saw myself as this, analytics, numbers, Google Analytics person back then. And it kind of turned out that being a more technical person, more analytical person, who thinks about frameworks, makes you eventually quite a good marketer today. And the marketing evolved right now. So over the last 10 years, marketing became much more technical, much more heavy in tools. And right now with vibe coding, that's a big enabler for marketers to be able to basically do so much more with vibe coding, to prototype, to actually not rely on all of this, designers or sometimes actually even developers. So it turned out that my analytical and quantitative and technical background kind of is helping me out, right? That I kind of understand the code, that I understand the numbers. And also back then, turned out that, once I was specifically at Uber Eats, once I was launching many experiments, it turned out that statistics knowledge and understanding of statistics helps a lot once you are running some A/B tests, multivariance tests, because you need to understand the statistical significance and you need to understand what is the uplift, right? So I kind of within the years, I kind of understood that my educational background helped me a lot to actually do it, to perform better and to be a better marketer at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all of this has been fascinating and really It was a powerhouse. I've made so many notes just from this conversation. So thank you so much for that. I do want to head into our rapid fire round. Very quick questions, very quick answers. Best advice you've ever received, business or personal?
Oh, that's really actually good question here. Uh, so yeah, there are actually like a few of that. I think like the key one was like always be questioning yourself and let others like question you. And
Interesting.
I think that's key one, right? Like even if you know so many things that the market is evolving, like the world is changing, and even if you learn so much and you experience so much, always be kind of like questioning yourself because it helps just a lot, right? With everything in life.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's actually very good. Advice you ignored and wish you had listened to.
That's a harder one. I think that's a harder one. So my first like thought was actually related to hiring, and I think like what I like ignore and what I've learned over the time is that once you are hiring like anyone, make sure that you are not hiring alone, so that you've got at least like the second or like like other people checking like with you, like I like asking the same questions even, but like doing this double checks, because you might just skip something that might turn out being like fatal in the end, right? That you just hired the bad person. And I think that I ignored, and I wasn't so sure, and I really didn't understand at the beginning that the cost of bad hiring is so high, and that's something that I've learned. Like,
It's battle
on my own.
scars. They teach you that for sure. What would you tell your younger self, say 7 to 10 years ago?
Oh, actually, I think I've got right now like two little girls, and I think I would tell myself that yeah, actually you don't need to like wait like so long like to get like the kids, because kids are just great, right? And obviously you need to reframe your life, but I think like everyone was telling me that, yeah, it's gonna be so much harder once you're gonna get kids. It's gonna be the end of your career. It's gonna be like you need to like give up on so many of your passions, etc. But in the end, nobody tells you that kids are bringing so much fun and they are basically making your life better. So I think I would tell myself that, yeah, actually, like kids gonna make your life so even much more better. It's gonna be harder sometimes, but you shouldn't be actually like waiting. Like, let's get kids, and you're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna be much better life with them.
Yeah, well, I had kids when I was 22. Uh, and I can tell you that maybe wait a little bit.
I
You
got
don't
it.
have to go right away. But I wanted to do that. I had my son, I was 22, at 23 with my daughter. And I think a few years would not have been an issue at all if I would
Oh
have
yeah,
waited.
I can get it. I can get it. I can get it. Actually, that's something that nobody told me, that, like everyone is telling that, kids are kind of like gonna make you like kind of harder. It's like, yeah, they are nice, but it's gonna be so much different. But in the end, it's all about like your project management skills, and it's all about how you actually, coordinate all of these things, and eventually like the benefits are so much bigger than all of the drawbacks.
That's your quant background coming into gear. I can see that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Always like measuring things.
Yeah. Is there an ongoing challenge in your current work that keeps you up at night?
Like a challenge that keeps me up right now. I think it's like it's eventually I think that the question, and that's not actually related to like marketing in general, but the question is that I think many people are asking also is like, where is like the AI is taking us, specifically in terms of the SaaS businesses that we know right now.
Yeah.
So the question is, would all of the SaaS businesses that we know right now would exist like in 5 years from now? Or will it all be like, one chat GPT, where we'll be just,
Build
having
this
all
for
of the
me.
connected. So the question is like, I'm super curious, like of like how's gonna the market look like within the next like 1, 2, 3 years.
Fair enough.
And just like kind of asking ourselves, are we making like the good bets, right? Because it's, I think right now, so crucial to make some good bets, and it's so crucial to evolve quick, because I think many SaaS businesses gonna disappear from the market in like 2, 3 years from now. And that's something that we see right now with consolidations, etc. So so making the good bets and like understanding where the AI is taking us, making good assumptions, and then just evolving quickly is something that is a must for all the businesses.
Fair enough. Your favorite restaurant, meal, or spot in Poland?
Okay. In Poland, that's harder. I'm currently in Cape Town. I would share with you so many of my favorite Cape Town. Strongly recommend like the best cuisine, I think, like the best restaurants, also in terms of the value for money here in Cape Town. But in Poland, particularly, so like I'm a really big coffee geek. So I also love drips, and I love exploring like many different coffee places. And there's a really amazing place in Gdańsk, in Garnison. It's called like Struśkawka. So if you are listening to this podcast and if you are a big like drip or AeroPress or just a coffee lover, then definitely let's get to Struśkawka. It's being managed by Andrzej Struś, and it's one of my favorite places. Another one is Laba next to Struśkawka. So two favorite places when it comes to getting good coffee and really good cooking as well.
You made me want to drink coffee, and I've never had coffee in my life. I have spent all this time without a coffee. So interesting. That's a good recommendation. Thank you.
That's interesting.
I have plenty of energy without coffee. Trust me, if I drink coffee, I'll be like an Energizer bunny from hell. I won't stop shaking. So I'm fine without it. Last question. One tool that you swear by and cannot live without.
Tool that I cannot live without, right? That's it might like personally or like professionally.
Doesn't matter. It's a tool that you love, that you really recommend or would not be able to trade away.
Like it okay, it kind of like depends, like the tool that's actually like a very like small like life hack that I'm doing. I basically like using like Todoist for all the very small like tasks that you want to just like offload over my like thoughts, and that I'm just putting all of this like Todoist tasks there. So I really like that app, and I really actually using it both professionally and like for my private life, even to like for some shopping list, or even for some things such as let's make sure that something like let's take this and that, like the packing list or anything like this. So I would say like Todoist for offloading everything that I've got in my mind, because I really need to have my mind kind of clear. I really don't like having this feeling that I need to remember about like anything, right? So like offloading to this like Todoist app, making sure that it's ordered with some reminders, and then like doing my to the zero like inbox zero every day is my small habit.
Absolutely. Oh, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for coming out of the show. Where can listeners find you?
Excuse me?
Where can listeners find you?
So the listeners can find me on my LinkedIn. You can reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn. I'm quite responsive there.
Absolutely. Perfect. Is there an upcoming project, launch, talk, or an event that you're excited about, other than the fact that you're going on holidays for 2 weeks and you're in Cape Town?
Yeah, actually, like let's jump to our like product webinar beginning of January, because we're gonna have pretty big announcement of a like new product, kind of revamped product. So if you are interested in customer feedback, definitely let's follow me on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna share more in 1 month from now, and it's gonna be really exciting if you are looking for one place to run your research projects.
Fascinating. Awesome. Well, keeping my fingers crossed. Ola, thank you so much once again for coming out of the show. Folks, if you got value out of this, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you. Appreciate it, Ola.
Thanks a lot. That was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye-bye.